Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Its-A-Mii here, and today we're doing another Nintendo Switch 2 game unboxing, this time for Raidou Remastered, the Mystery of the Soulless Army from Atlus. This is an SMT sub-series I'm not that familiar with. However, seeing the reveal in the March Nintendo Direct, I was immediately interested in this. I really wanted to check it out. It has this like action real-time combat, but also you're a detective and stuff. So I thought this looked pretty cool and wanted to check it out on Nintendo Switch 2 here. So we're going to open it up, but also do some first impressions and a handheld gameplay, talk about how it runs on the Nintendo Switch 2. If you're into that kind of thing, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. So here we are on release day, or I guess the day after when you're seeing it, for Raidou Remastered, the Mystery of the Soulless Army. This just came out on basically every platform. I think even Xbox, you can get this thing on any platform you want. However, I have been so Nintendo Switch 2 coded recently, I wanted to pick it up on Switch 2. Maybe later down the line, I might check out the PS5 version if it goes down to like 20 bucks. Atlus games always go on such deep sale. Now, it is worth noting here, I've already seen a lot of posts about this online. Apparently, if you buy the Switch 1 version, which is not a game key card, that version runs at 60 FPS on Nintendo Switch 2. The only downside to buying the Switch 1 version and playing it on Switch 2 is that the handheld resolution will be worse. That's the only difference. So if you are someone that really is worried about the game keycard situation, you can pretty safely just buy the Switch 1 version and play that on your Switch 2, and you'll get 60 FPS as opposed to 30, I believe, on Switch 1. So if you don't like game keycards, just buy the Switch 1 version. I think that is a totally viable way to play this game, unless you really care about the handheld resolution. But honestly, you're probably fine just playing it either way. So just wanted to note that for the people that don't like game keycards, just buy the Switch 1 version. The data's on the cartridge and play that on your Switch 2. Also, show and tell here, I found this guy at a Goodwill a very long time ago. This actually came in the PS2 special edition for the second game, I want to say. And at first I was like, is it actually the same game? Well, based on their hats, I think I think this might be Jack Frost from the Raidou game. So I don't know. I just thought he was cute. Wanted to show him off. He's a little hairy from my cat, so I need to lint roll him. But yeah, here we have the game on Nintendo Switch 2 here, Raidou Remastered. This is our first post-launch release for the Nintendo Switch 2, worth noting, which is kind of interesting. This is our first third-party game after the console comes out. I don't know any of these characters other than that. Is that Raidou? I don't know. I don't know the plot of this game, but I'm pretty interested and intrigued to check it out here. Of course, you have your demons here, the other supporting cast, I suppose. And then it is a game keycard release. This game keycard will require a 17 gig download on the Nintendo Switch 2. Worth noting, rated M. Of course, first Atlus game on the platform as well. Here we have the spine. This one's just all black with the text here and a very nice font. Raidou Remastered, Mystery of the Soulless Army. I actually like the spine quite a bit. I think the only other spine I have right now on my shelf is Bravely Default, so this will accompany that nicely on the other end of the alphabets. Here we have the back of the box. It says, Unleash the Supernatural, the story of apprentice, detective, and devil summoner extraordinaire Raidou Kuzunoha the 14th returns in the remastered classic. Call upon your demons to solve supernatural mysteries and dispose of enemies. Here is a closer look at that. It's a little hard to see because it's like all like dark, and then also the text is really small. But we have a couple of screenshots of the game there. But let's go ahead and crack this thing open and see what is inside. Atlus, pretty sure, has not been the best when it comes to doing inside arts and stuff, but we'll see if there's anything for us. I'm always excited to see if there's just like a little bit of art on the inside with these things. Maybe the cartridge will have something. Maybe there'll be a little pamphlet of some kind, maybe a code for the cosmetic. I don't know. Just something on the inside is always a nice little treat. So once again, without the plastic on, we have the front of the game, the spine, as well as the back of the box. Let's open her up right here. Okay, we have a code for something. I need to make sure I use that. So no reversible cover art or anything. Looks like you get a code for the pre-order DLC, Raidou glasses. You get Raidou glasses. I guess that's a cosmetic for the main character. This is just a little piece of paper saying how to download your DLC. I will make sure to use that before I post this video because I do want to have these. I don't even know what they are really. I guess they're just a pair of glasses you can put on. We also have the game cartridge itself here. Pretty basic, just a black background with the logo there, so nothing too special. All right, but let's go ahead and pop this into our Switch 2, see what the icon looks like, and then once it's downloaded, I will play a little bit, do some handheld recording, as well as some docked, and see what my early impressions of the game are. We'll talk about that, of course, as well. Okay, so as always, to use this game keycard, you'll need to download the data, I actually might need to start making space on my my SD card soon. And here we have the icon for the game on Nintendo Switch 2. I presume that is the same as the Switch 1 icon would be. 17 gig download. Won't stay too long for me on my internet, so I'm going to cut over to once it's done and my early impressions of the game. Okay, it is the next day now. I've played a few hours of Raidou Remastered, and early impressions are good. However, I do have some nitpicks. So first things first, how does it run? The game runs really well. I mean, it's 60 FPS, both docked and in handheld. Runs at 4K when you're playing it docked. However, I will say, and I think this is just to the quality of the remaster overall, not just specifically like a Nintendo Switch thing. This will be the case on any platform. But there's something about the way they remastered this game, but also SMT3, that just doesn't feel the highest quality. In certain areas, this looks a lot better than SMT3's Nocturne remaster, which wasn't the best thing in the world to begin with. But then other areas, like you look at the NPCs when you're in any of the towns, and they didn't do anything. You know, they didn't even try to make these NPCs look better. But then you look at the model for Raidou, the main character, and he like looks really good. Like he's all shiny and stuff, and he looks really nice. The demons look solid, certainly a step above the regular NPCs. The backgrounds look nice. There are certainly some times where I'm looking at the, background of the village or when you're in the dark realm, and I'm like, oh, that looks really good. But overall, this doesn't necessarily feel like the highest quality remaster of all time from like a visual standpoint anyway. Of course, having never played the original, I've seen some footage of it. This is just, they spruced it up a little bit, but they didn't go above and beyond or anything here. It really is just, here's a modern way to play this game in 4K or 1080, whatever you're playing it on. And nitpicking the NPC model quality aside, the game does look good. I don't want to say the game looks bad or anything. It looks fine. So the basic premise here is that you are a detective and you are also a devil summoner. So you are doing cases, solving mysteries, but also using your demons to your advantage to help you solve those mysteries. And then there is this really nice real-time combat. It's actually funny. I was thinking about it and I'm like, dang, this is actually kind of similar to like the setup of like a Detective Pikachu. You have your monsters, your Pokemon, but also you're using them to solve mysteries in that way, which is just kind of funny. Obviously, this came out way before that. But yeah, for the detective side of the game, you're running around talking to NPCs, kind of putting clues together. There are these case file side quests. Some of these are very simple. One was just like, hey, do you have a demon that has this like flying ability or whatever? Get the dog down from the top of the gate. And that was an entire side quest. So you're using the demons to interact with the environment a little bit, or really just make a cutscene happen to solve a thing. But I like that. It gives them more of a use beyond just, okay, I want this demon on my team for fighting. They also have a use of like in the field solving puzzles, kind of. So far, the story doesn't seem like anything really to write home about, but obviously I'm very early, so that might change as I play more. I'm still in the first chapter, right? So I need to get further in to really make a judgment on that. The combats, I like this. I like this game a lot. It kind of reminds me of Crisis Core, where you just go into like this like little arena and you fight enemies within that arena. Because, traditional SMT, you're on the overworld or you're running around an area, you go into an encounter, and then it's just your typical turn-based setup. In this, you go into that arena, and it's like a little square thing you can run around in and do your action combats. And the combat is a lot of fun. I mean, once again, I'm still early, but even now, I'm really liking what they have here, where you play as Raidou, you have a sword and a gun. I didn't even know he had a gun. The gun gameplay is a little clunky, I feel like. And also, I mean, aside from like taking down pixies or something, or, enemies that are really fast or, move away quickly, I haven't really felt like the gun is all that useful, but maybe that changes a little bit later. The sword combat's fun, pretty basic light, heavy attacks, charge up attacks, that kind of thing. But then you also have your demons alongside you, and in typical SMT fashion, they all have their own abilities, magic attacks. Some of them can heal, that kind of thing. And I really like that you can mix and match these during combat. So let's say you're in an encounter with a boss or something, and you need to switch to a demon that can heal you. You can just do that right away. And it really kind of makes them feel like part of the team. I don't know. It's been a long time since I really played through a core SMT title, like all the way through. I played a bit of Vengeance last year, but before that, the last one I finished was SMT4. And sometimes the demons can kind of just feel like they're just like there. And this, since they're like fighting alongside you in real time, I don't know, it just adds something to like the Pokemon connection you have to these monsters, which is kind of cool, and it really makes you want to kind of just mess around and see what all they do in the field, that kind of thing, mess around with their different abilities. You also have these special attacks. I only have 2 right now, one of which is a fire attack, one of which is like an ice attack. Those are on a recharge. So there's a decent amount going on. You can also press in on the left stick to call your demons to you to get them out of the way of like an AoE. So if the AI ends up being bad, so far it hasn't really been an issue. You can kind of just like safeguard them and pull them away, which is nice. There's this neat little quick time event action that you can do that pops up. I believe it's when you do a perfect dodge, which is pretty nice. There's also like guarding and stuff, so maybe it's tied to parrying as well. So there's a lot going on with the combat in this game. It looks kind of simple on the surface, but when you really get in there, it's a lot of fun. I mean, even if it doesn't really evolve much further than what it has right now, where I'm just getting, you know, some more basic charge cooldown abilities and more demons that have different abilities, it's already fun enough that like I want to see this through and get to the end of the game. So yeah, really enjoying the combat so far. I like the voice acting. The voice acting is pretty good. I don't know if the original version had voice acting, but this seems pretty solid. Even like the demons, of course, have their little clips that they say when you're talking to them. I like that to recruit new demons, you go up to them during the battle and you just subdue them basically and suck them up into your tube. And then as you rank up your like devil summoner class, you're getting more tubes to collect them, basically. I still haven't gotten to the point where I have fusion yet. I know that's going to be a lot of fun as well. That's always one of my favorite things in these SMT games, is being able to fuse all the demons together and make new ones. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. I need to finish up Bravely Default though. That's my issue, man. There's too many freaking games right now. I think I'm going to try to like get through Bravely Default over the next week and then come back to this and then hopefully finish it up before the onslaught of Switch 2 stuff that's coming out in July. There's a lot coming out in July that I want to get to, most notably DK Bonanza, of course, but also like the Somnium Files, that's getting a new entry. Wild Hearts is coming to Switch 2 as well, Tony Hawk. So yeah, there's a lot coming out soon. I want to try to make time for this, for the full, you know, experience. By the end of the year, at the very least, I'll make sure this happens, but enjoying it overall so far. Switch 2 version seems like a pretty competent port. Playing the game on Switch 2, I'm not really noticing any technical difficulties beyond, you know, like I said, maybe it not just being the greatest remaster to begin with. But let me know what you think of Raidou Remastered in the comments down below. Have you picked up the game? Are you planning on picking it up? Have you been playing it? And if so, how are you feeling about it so far? And if you played the original, how does it compare to the original? That's what I'm more curious about. How much did they really change here? Did they tweak the combat or anything at all? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 unboxings and early impressions, handheld gameplay, dock gameplay of every Switch 2 game. We're doing basically everything here on the channel. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my Nintendo news channel at BoTalksGames as well. And until next time, folks, peace.